Hello, and welcome to my channel. My name is Jonathan Cohn, and today I have my book review of the book Dragonsbane by Barbara Hambly. This is both kind of like a standalone and a first book in a series. Barbara Hambly wrote this book back in, I think, 1985, and then she waited several years and then wrote some sequels in the late 90s, early 2000s. And this is released by Del Rey. And this has that gorgeous Michael Whelan painting. Let's first talk about, that dragon looks so good here. Gorgeous Michael Whelan painting. And I picked this book up for a couple of reasons. One, I've been looking for shorter fantasy books because sometimes it's just tiring that every fantasy book I'm reading is like 600-700 pages. I'm like, can I get something shorter? So this was a nice, fun, short 340-page fantasy novel. And I also picked this up because I had heard Brandon Sanderson, who is my favorite author, talk a lot about this book. Brandon Sanderson has talked at length about how Dragonsbane was the book that got him into reading. His, I think it was a middle school English teacher, suggested that he read this book, and it got him into reading. And so I was like, you know what, I'll try reading it myself, see how I like it. And I was very pleasantly happy and surprised that I loved it too. The first thing I'll say about this book is there is a simplicity to the writing style that I just love. There is no froofiness at all in the book. If there's descriptions, they're there for a reason. If there's magic system or world building, it's there for a reason. There is a little bit of world building in places, but just enough that you understand the context of the land you're in, but not so much that you feel like you know everything about the land. You know just enough to get the story rolling. And with the magic system too, there really isn't a magic system. It's just people who are magic users. But you get just a little bit of information, and it helps you know, okay, this is what I need to know. You know, the main character, she's a witch. She has these witchy powers, and there's, magic with the dragon stuff, and there's other magical things happening. But generally, you can get the gist really quickly. And so I like that Barbara Hambly doesn't focus on that. What the focus in this book really is on the kind of adventure journey storytelling that I really enjoyed. So the basic premise of this book is that there's the woman who's a witch named Jenny Waynest, who's, for lack of a better word, partner, because she's not allowed to marry him. Her partner is the Dragonsbane. He is the only living man to have killed a dragon. And so and her husband is John Alverson. And so she and the man who she's not allowed to marry. It's confusing. Anyway, she and John live up in the north, and this man comes up to the north, Gareth, and he tries to convince them to come down to the south, where there is a dragon terrorizing the capital in the south. And so they ask John because he's the one person who actually slew a dragon, and then Jenny comes with him because she has some knowledge of this, but it's mostly from Jenny's perspective. And so you journey down from the north to the south very quickly. It's the journey is not a long journey, and then you spend some time in the south in the capital, and then you spend some time hunting down the dragon. And as I said, it's very straightforward. This is the basic adventure story. I would liken this to similar storytelling beats in The Hobbit, except I think this is even more straightforward than The Hobbit is. So that's pretty nice about it. It's got some adult themes throughout, but I mean, it's kind of straightforward in the way The Hobbit was about going to the steal the treasure from the dragon and stuff like that. And so I really enjoyed that part of it. This book has some really interesting themes and ideas about women and about feminism versus traditionalism, about the way you write about women. Hambly has just a different way of writing about women. And I said I said in my written review that Dragonsbane is to a book like The Hobbit what I think that Rhapsody is to a book like The Wheel of Time. Both books kind of simplify the storylines of the other one. Both books feature a female protagonist with a writing style that is very unique to that world. And I think that both books tackle those deeper themes that are more interestingly than other books that have female protagonists. So if you liked the way that Elizabeth Hayden wrote the characters and the themes in Rhapsody, you'll probably enjoy Dragonsbane, I would guess. If you didn't enjoy Rhapsody, you might not enjoy Dragonsbane quite that much. This book also, I think, is just quite interesting because rather than choose a young protagonist like most fantasy or even just stories, books in general. Most books follow either teenagers or people in their 20s, particularly if they're adventure storylines. That's typically where you go. Occasionally you'll get an older person going on an adventure like Bilbo, but generally it's a kid or a young adult. And so to get here a woman who's 37 is just different. Now, by today's standards, 37 is not that old, but it's still just interesting to choose someone in that part of life where, Jenny in this book, she has children. She has, she's kind of settled down kind of. She's got a life, and yet she still goes on this adventure with her with her partner. I hate the complexity of that part of it. Anyway, so I just thought that was so fascinating that Barbara Hambly wrote from that perspective back in the 80s. Today, this might not be too shocking to get a book like this, but to get a book like this back in the 80s, when the writing of the genre was very different, I just think is very fascinating. The end of this book takes a little bit of a turn. The villain turns out to be someone else, and the focus changes a little bit, and so some people might feel a little bit cheated. I still think the general idea of the adventure and the journey still plays true throughout the book, so I still really enjoyed that aspect of it. And the book leaves you in, I think, a place that either readers will love or readers will hate. You probably won't be in the middle. I loved it because I just thought it was a really interesting way to deal with these themes, and it was the direction I wanted the character to go, but I realized that most readers want the character to go in a totally different direction. So I really enjoyed this book. I've been told the sequels are not that great, so I have the first sequel, Dragon Shadow. I don't know if or when I'll get to it, but at least for the first one, Dragonsbane, I loved it. I'll give it a 9 out of 10. I thought this was a tremendous book. So if you've read Dragonsbane, let me know your thoughts in the comments section down below. And until next time, I'm Jonathan, and thank you for watching.